The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the human exploration vessel, the HSS Curiosity. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the star-studded void. It was their third month exploring this remote sector of the galaxy, and so far they had found nothing but lifeless rocks and gas giants. "Captain, we're picking up a strange signal from the planet ahead," reported Lieutenant Torres, his fingers dancing over the control panel. Sarah leaned forward, her interest piqued. "What kind of signal, Lieutenant?" It's not like anything we've seen before, ma'am, but it seems to be some sort of distress call." The captain's heart raced. Could this be the moment they had all been waiting for? First contact with an alien civilization. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "All right, let's check it out. Helm, take us into orbit." As the HSS Curiosity approached the planet, the crew could see it was a world of swirling purple clouds and vast oceans of deep blue. Scans showed a breathable atmosphere and gravity similar to Earth's. Perfect conditions for an away mission. Sarah assembled a team of 5. Herself, Dr. Emily Wong, the ship's xenobiologist, Security Officer Jackson, and 2 seasoned explorers, Martins and Pottle. They boarded a shuttle and descended through the planet's atmosphere. The shuttle touched down in a clearing surrounded by strange, spiral-shaped trees with iridescent leaves. The air was thick with the scent of alien flora, a mix of cinnamon and ozone that made their noses tingle. "Stay alert, everyone," Sarah warned as they stepped out of the shuttle. "We don't know what we're dealing with here." They moved cautiously through the alien forest, following the signal on their handheld devices. The sounds of unfamiliar creatures echoed around them, clicks and whistles that sent shivers down their spines. Suddenly, Martinez called out, "Captain, over here." The team rushed to his position and stopped short at the sight before them. There, huddled beneath a fallen tree trunk, was a small alien child. Its skin was a pale blue, with intricate patterns swirling across its surface. Large, liquid eyes blinked up at them, filled with fear and pain. Dr. Wong approached slowly, her hands held out in a gesture of peace. "It's okay, little one," she said softly, knowing the alien couldn't understand her words, but hoping her tone would convey her intentions. "We're here to help." The alien child whimpered, a sound that tugged at their hearts despite its otherworldliness. As Dr. Wong got closer, they could see that one of the child's limbs was twisted at an unnatural angle. "It's injured," Dr. Wong reported. "We need to get it back to the ship for treatment." Sarah nodded, her mind racing. This was far beyond anything they had expected to find. An injured alien child, alone on a strange planet. Where were its parents? Its people? As they prepared to move the child, a distant roar echoed through the forest. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and the alien child let out a terrified cry. "What was that?" Jackson asked, his hand moving to his weapon. "I don't know," Sarah replied. "But I don't think we want to stick around to find out. Let's move." With gentle care, they lifted the alien child and hurried back to their shuttle. The roars grew louder, closer. Through the trees, they caught glimpses of massive shapes moving towards them, crushing everything in their path. They reached the shuttle just as the first of the creatures burst into the clearing. It was enormous, easily the size of an earth elephant, with multiple legs and a maw full of razor-sharp teeth. "Go, go, go," Sarah yelled as they scrambled into the shuttle. The engines roared to life, and they lifted off just as the creature lunged at them. Its claws scraped against the shuttle's hull, leaving deep gouges in the metal. As they soared back towards the HSS Curiosity, Sarah looked down at the alien child cradled in Dr. Wong's arms. It had fallen unconscious, its breathing shallow. "What have we gotten ourselves into?" she murmured. Little did Sarah know that this discovery would set in motion a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The human crew of the HSS Curiosity had just taken their first step into a much larger, more dangerous universe than they had ever imagined. As the shuttle docked with the main ship, Sarah made a decision. They would do everything in their power to help this alien child, no matter the consequences, because that's what humans did. They helped those in need, even if those in need weren't human at all. The real adventure was just beginning. The medical bay of the HSS Curiosity buzzed with activity. Dr. Emily Wong worked tirelessly, her brow furrowed in concentration as she tended to the alien child. Captain Sarah Chen stood nearby, watching anxiously. "How is it doing, Doctor?" Sarah asked. Emily sighed, running a hand through her disheveled hair. "It's stable, but I've never seen biology like this before. I'm doing my best, but—" Their conversation was interrupted by a loud alarm. Lieutenant Torres's voice crackled over the intercom. "Captain, to the bridge, immediately." Sarah rushed to the bridge, her heart pounding. As she entered, she saw a massive ship on the main view screen, easily 10 times the size of the Curiosity. "Report," she barked. "Unknown vessel appeared out of nowhere, Captain," Torres explained. "They're hailing us." Sarah took a deep breath. On screen. The view screen flickered, and a stern-faced alien appeared. It had gray, scaly skin and 4 eyes that blinked in an unsettling pattern. "I am High Counselor Zix of the Galactic Council," the alien spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "You are in possession of a Class 5 dangerous species. Surrender it immediately." Sarah's mind raced. Class 5 dangerous species. The injured child. She straightened her back, meeting the alien's gaze. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Curiosity. We found an injured child and are providing medical care. We mean no harm." Zix's eyes narrowed. "You meddle in affairs beyond your understanding, human. That child is a Vorax, a species known for their savage nature and uncontrollable destructive powers. Hand it over, or face the consequences." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine, but she stood her ground. "With all due respect, Counselor, we can't hand over a helpless child to face who knows what fate. We have a duty to protect those in need." The alien's face contorted in what Sarah assumed was anger. "You primitive species and your misguided morals. The Vorax nearly destroyed an entire sector last time they were allowed to flourish. We cannot risk that again." "Nearly destroyed a sector. It's just a child," Sarah protested. "A child that will grow into a monster," Zix retorted. "This is your final warning. Surrender the Vorax, or we will take it by force." The transmission cut off abruptly. Sarah turned to her crew, their faces a mix of fear and determination. "Orders, Captain," Security Officer Jackson asked, his hand hovering over the weapons console. Sarah's mind whirled. They were vastly outgunned, but she couldn't bring herself to hand over the child. "Shields up, prepare for evasive maneuvers, and someone get that child secured." The massive council ship loomed closer, its weapons powering up. The Curiosity shook as the first volley hit their shields. Shields at 80%. Torres yelled over the alarms. "Evasive pattern Delta." Sarah ordered. "Try to put some distance between us and them." The Curiosity dove and weaved, but the council ship matched their every move. Another hit rocked the ship. "Shields at 60%. We can't take much more of this, Captain." Sarah gritted her teeth. "Keep trying to hail them. Tell them we're willing to talk." Suddenly, Dr. Wong's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, the child is awake. And you need to see this." On the view screen, Sarah saw the council ship preparing for another attack. She had seconds to make a decision that could change the fate of her crew, the alien child, and possibly the entire human race. "Helm, set course for the nearest asteroid field," she commanded. "We're going to play a little game of hide and seek." As the Curiosity darted towards a dense cluster of asteroids, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, what had they gotten themselves into? And what was happening with the alien child that was so urgent? The ship shuddered again as another blast from the council ship grazed their shields. Sarah clenched her fists. Whatever happened next, she knew one thing for certain. They weren't giving up without a fight. Because that's what humans did best. They fought for what was right, no matter the odds. The real test of humanity's resolve was just beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same. The HSS Curiosity dove into the asteroid field, massive space rocks tumbling all around them. Captain Sarah Chen's knuckles were white as she gripped her chair, her eyes darting between the view screen and the ship's readouts. "Status report," she barked. Lieutenant Torres responded, his voice tense. "Shields at 40%, Captain. The Council ship is still in pursuit, but they're having trouble maneuvering in the field." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Their smaller size was finally an advantage. "Keep us moving, Lieutenant. Use the asteroids for cover when you can." As if on cue, a massive asteroid drifted between the Curiosity and their pursuers, briefly blocking the Council ship's line of fire. "Captain," Security Officer Jackson called out, "I've got an idea. If we can lure them deeper into the field, we might be able to use our ship's superior maneuverability to our advantage." Sarah nodded. "Do it, but be careful. We can't afford to take any more hits." The Curiosity weaved through the asteroid field, leading the larger Council ship into increasingly narrow passages. Suddenly, Dr. Wong's voice crackled over the intercom again. "Captain, you need to come to the medical bay immediately. The child, it's doing something extraordinary." Sarah hesitated, torn between her duty to the bridge and her curiosity about the alien child. "On my way," she decided. "Lieutenant Torres, you have the con. Keep us alive." As Sarah rushed to the medical bay, the ship shuddered from another near miss. She steadied herself against the wall, silently praying that Jackson's plan would work. The medical bay doors hissed open, and Sarah stopped in her tracks, her eyes wide with disbelief. The alien child was floating a foot above the examination table, its body glowing with a soft, pulsating light. Dr. Wong stood nearby, her face a mixture of awe and fear. "What's happening?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Wong shook her head. "I'm not sure. Its vital signs are off the charts, but it doesn't seem to be in distress. It's almost as if..." Before she could finish, the child's eyes snapped open. They were no longer the liquid orbs they had been before, but swirling vortexes of energy. The child turned its gaze to Sarah, and suddenly she felt a presence in her mind. Images flashed through her thoughts. Stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, the vastness of the universe laid bare. And through it all, a sense of immense power, but also of innocence and curiosity. Sarah gasped as the connection broke. She stumbled back, overwhelmed by what she had experienced. It's trying to communicate," she managed to say. The ship rocked violently, snapping them back to the present danger. Sarah's communicator chirped, "Captain." Torres's voice was urgent. "We're running out of room to maneuver. We need a plan now." As if in response to Torres's plea, the alien child raised its arms. The glow surrounding its body intensified, filling the medical bay with blinding light. Sarah felt a surge of energy coursing through the ship. On the bridge, the crew watched in amazement as a shimmering field of energy enveloped the Curiosity. The next blast from the Council ship dissipated harmlessly against this new shield. "Shields at 300% capacity," Torres reported, disbelief evident in his voice. "Captain, what's happening?" Sarah's mind raced, piecing together what she had seen in the child's visions. It's not a weapon, she realized. It's a protector. The Vorax aren't destroyers, they're guardians. With newfound confidence, Sarah issued her orders. Full power to engines, plot a course out of the asteroid field, and prepare for maximum warp. We're going home. The Curiosity burst from the asteroid field, its new energy shield easily deflecting the Council ship's attacks. Before the larger vessel could react, the human ship stretched into a brilliant streak of light, vanishing into warp. As the stars streaked by outside, Sarah looked down at the alien child, now peacefully asleep on the examination table. She knew that their journey was far from over. They had escaped for now, But the Galactic Council wouldn't give up easily, and the true nature of their extraordinary passenger was still a mystery. But Sarah felt a glimmer of hope. They had stood their ground, protected the innocent, and discovered something amazing in the process. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that humanity's compassion and determination would see them through. The Curiosity raced towards Earth, carrying with it the seed of a revolution that would change the galaxy forever. The HSS Curiosity burst out of warp speed, Earth's familiar blue sphere filling the viewscreen. Captain Sarah Chen let out a sigh of relief. They were home, but their troubles were far from over. "Contact Earth Space Command," Sarah ordered. "Tell them we need an emergency meeting with the World Council. Top priority." As they approached Earth, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at how quickly everything had changed. Just days ago, they were on a routine exploration mission. Now, they were at the center of a galactic conflict. The ship docked at the orbital station, where a team of high-ranking officials was waiting. Dr. Wong carefully carried the alien child, still peacefully asleep, wrapped in a special containment field. Hours later, Sarah stood before the World Council, a group of leaders representing every nation on Earth. The chamber was filled with tension as she recounted their adventure. "So, you're telling us," the U.S. representative began, his voice skeptical, "that this child is part of a species the Galactic Council considers dangerous, but you believe they're actually some kind of cosmic guardians." Sarah nodded. "I know it sounds incredible, but I saw it with my own eyes. The child protected us. It has power beyond anything we've ever seen." The Chinese representative leaned forward. "And now the Galactic Council is after this child. Do you realize the danger you've brought to Earth?" Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Sarah felt her heart sink. She had expected resistance, but the fear in the room was palpable. Suddenly, Dr. Wong burst into the chamber, her face flushed with excitement. "Excuse me, council members, but you need to see this." She activated a holographic display. It showed the alien child, now awake and floating in its containment field. As they watched, the child began to glow, just as it had on the ship. The chamber fell silent as images appeared in the hologram. They saw stars forming, planets being born, and civilizations rising. But they also saw darkness, great destructive forces threatening to consume everything. And then they saw the Voraks, glowing beings of immense power, standing against the darkness, protecting the innocent. The images showed the Voraks saving worlds, healing dying stars, preserving life across the galaxy. As the vision faded, the council members sat in stunned silence. Sarah seized the moment. "This is what the child showed me," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "The Voraks aren't destroyers. They're protectors. And now one of them has come to us for help." The Indian representative spoke up. "But why? Why would such a powerful being need our help?" Sarah shook her head. "I don't know. But I do know that if we turn this child over to the Galactic Council, we'd be betraying everything humanity stands for. We protect the innocent. We stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult." The room erupted in debate. Some argued for caution, for turning the child over to avoid conflict. Others supported Sarah, insisting that protecting the child was not just right, but could be humanity's chance to prove itself on the galactic stage. As the argument raged, a small voice cut through the noise. "We help." Everyone turned to see the alien child, now standing in the center of the room. Its containment field had vanished, but no one moved to restrain it. The child's eyes, swirling with cosmic energy, looked at each person in turn. "We help," it repeated, its voice echoing with power and innocence. "You help. Together." The council members looked at each other, then back at the child. In that moment, something shifted. The fear and doubt began to fade, replaced by a sense of purpose. The president of the World Council stood up. "Captain Chen," she said, her voice firm, "your actions have placed Earth in a difficult position, but they have also given us an opportunity. An opportunity to show the galaxy who we really are. She turned to address the entire chamber. Members of the council, I propose a vote. Do we stand with this child, this Vorax, against the unjust actions of the Galactic Council? Do we dare to challenge the status quo of the galaxy? Sarah held her breath as the vote was called. One by one, the members cast their decisions. As the final vote was tallied, the president's voice rang out. The decision is made. Earth will protect the Vorax child, whatever the cost. As cheers erupted in the chamber, Sarah felt a mix of relief and apprehension. They had made their choice. Now they had to face the consequences. The real challenge was just beginning. The next few weeks on Earth were a whirlwind of activity. The decision to protect the Vorax child had set in motion a series of events that would change the course of human history. Captain Sarah Chen found herself at the center of it all. She had been promoted to Admiral and given command of Earth's newly formed Galactic Defense Force. Admiral, a young lieutenant called out as Sarah entered the bustling command center. The new ships are ready for your inspection. Sarah nodded, following the lieutenant to a large view screen. What she saw took her breath away. A fleet of sleek, advanced spacecraft filled the screen, unlike anything humans had built before. How is this possible? Sarah asked, amazed. We didn't have this technology a month ago. Dr. Emily Wong stepped forward, a proud smile on her face. It's all thanks to our little friend, she said, gesturing to the Vorax child who floated nearby, watching the proceedings with curious eyes. The child has been sharing knowledge with us, Emily explained. Not just about technology, but about the galaxy, other species, and the true nature of the Vorax. Sarah turned to the child, who met her gaze with those swirling, cosmic eyes. Thank you, she said softly. The child smiled in response, a gesture that still looked strange on its alien face. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the command center. Admiral, a technician called out. We're detecting multiple warp signatures approaching the solar system. It's the Galactic Council. Sarah's mind raced. They weren't ready yet. They needed more time. But as she looked around at the determined faces of her crew, she realized that, ready or not, the time had come. Battle stations, she ordered. Prepare to deploy the fleet. As the command center erupted into action, Sarah felt a gentle tug on her sleeve. She looked down to see the Vorax child, its eyes now glowing with an intense light. Not alone, the child said, its voice resonating with power. Friends come. Before Sarah could ask what the child meant, another alarm sounded. Admiral, the technician called again, his voice filled with disbelief. We're detecting more warp signatures, but they're not Galactic Council ships. I've never seen anything like them. The view screen flickered to life, showing a vast array of ships entering the solar system. They were of all shapes and sizes, some organic-looking, others gleaming with advanced technology, and they were positioning themselves between Earth and the approaching Council fleet. Open a channel, Sarah ordered, her heart pounding. A moment later, a diverse group of alien faces appeared on the screen. Some looked vaguely humanoid, others were completely foreign, but all wore expressions of determination. One of the aliens, a being with shimmering, translucent skin, spoke. Greetings, humans of Earth. We are the coalition of free species. We have come to stand with you against the tyranny of the Galactic Council. Sarah's mind reeled. How? How did you know? Another alien, this one looking like a sentient crystal formation, chimed in. The Vorax have been our secret guardians for eons. When one of their young sought refuge with you, and you chose to protect it despite the danger, we knew it was time to reveal ourselves. The Council has ruled through fear for too long, added a third alien, its voice a melodious hum. By standing up for what's right, humanity has given us the courage to do the same. Sarah felt a swell of emotion in her chest. They weren't alone. They had allies, more than she could have ever imagined. She turned to her crew, seeing the same mix of awe and determination on their faces. "Well," she said, a fierce grin spreading across her face, "let's not keep the Council waiting." As the combined fleet of Earth and the Coalition moved into formation, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger galaxy, and they had done so by staying true to their principles. The Galactic Council ships appeared on the edge of the solar system, their weapons charged, but as they faced the united fleet before them, for the first time in millennia, the Council hesitated. The battle for the future of the galaxy was about to begin, and humanity was ready to play its part. The vastness of space around Earth's solar system erupted into chaos as the united fleet of Earth and the coalition of free species clashed with the Galactic Council's armada. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the flagship, her eyes darting between holographic displays showing the unfolding battle. "Status report." Sarah barked, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. Lieutenant Torres, now her second in command, responded quickly. "Our shields are holding, Admiral. The Council's main fleet is engaging our left flank, but the Coalition's Kryllic ships are keeping them at bay." Sarah nodded, her mind racing through strategies. The Council's ships were powerful, but they were used to fighting scared, disorganized opponents. They had never faced a united front like this before. Suddenly, a massive energy beam lanced out from the Council's flagship, cutting through space towards Earth. Sarah's heart leaped into her throat, but before she could react, 3 Voraks appeared in the beam's path. Their bodies glowed with cosmic energy as they absorbed the attack, protecting the planet below. "By all that's holy," whispered Dr. Wong, who stood nearby monitoring the Vorax child. "I've never seen such power." The child floated next to her, its eyes swirling with the same energy as its kindred in space. "Protect," it said simply, its voice echoing with ancient wisdom. "Always protect." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. With the Vorax on their side, they had a chance, but she knew the Council wouldn't give up easily. As if reading her thoughts, the enemy fleet began to regroup. Hundreds of smaller ships peeled away from the main force, heading straight for Earth. "They're trying to overwhelm us with numbers," Torres shouted. Sarah's mind raced. They couldn't let a single ship through to Earth. Suddenly, an idea struck her. "All ships, execute Maneuver Omega," she commanded. "Coalition forces, on my mark. Activate your gravity wells." The Earth fleet scattered in a seemingly chaotic pattern, confusing the oncoming Council ships. Then, at Sarah's signal, the Coalition's ships activated powerful gravity generators. The space around the Earth fleet warped and twisted, catching the Council ships in a web of conflicting gravitational forces. Trapped and disoriented, the smaller Council ships were easy prey for Earth's more maneuverable fighters. Within minutes, the attack had been repelled. But the battle was far from over. The Council's main fleet pressed forward, their heavy guns pounding against the Coalition's lines. Sarah watched as Allied ships exploded into silent fireballs, their crews lost to the void. "We need to end this quickly," Sarah muttered. She turned to the Vorax child. "Can you help us? Can you show us how to stop them without more death?" The child's eyes glowed brighter. It raised its small hand, pointing at the Council's flagship. Suddenly, Sarah's mind was filled with images, schematics, weak points, and a plan so audacious it took her breath away. "All ships, form up on me," Sarah ordered, her voice filled with newfound determination. "We're going to take out their command ship." The united fleet moved as one, punching through the Council's defenses. Earth's ships, guided by the Vorax's knowledge, targeted specific points on the massive flagship. Coalition vessels provided cover, their advanced shields absorbing the brunt of the Council's counterattack. As they closed in on the flagship, Sarah felt a surge of energy. The Vorax child was glowing brightly, its power filling the ship. Similar glows appeared throughout the fleet as the other Vorax lent their strength. "Now," Sarah shouted, "all ships, fire." Beams of energy, more powerful than anything humans had wielded before, lanced out from the Earth ships. They struck the Council flagship at precise points, guided by the Vorax's ancient wisdom. The massive ship shuddered, explosions rippling across its surface. For a moment, everything seemed to hang in balance. Then, with a silent flash that lit up the solar system, the Council flagship broke apart. As the debris scattered across space, the remaining Council ships stopped firing. One by one, they began to power down their weapons. Sarah let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. They had done it. Against all odds, they had won. But as she looked out at the battlefield, littered with the remains of ships from all sides, Sarah knew that the real challenge was just beginning. They had defeated the Council, but now they had to build a new future for the galaxy. A future where humans, the Coalition, and the Vorax would work together to protect and nurture life across the stars. The battle was over. The real adventure was about to begin. The weeks following the Great Battle were a whirlwind of activity. Earth, once a backwater planet unknown to most of the galaxy, had suddenly become the center of attention. Ships from hundreds of worlds arrived daily, bringing curious visitors, grateful allies, and even former enemies seeking reconciliation. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the window of the newly constructed Galactic Cooperation Center, watching as ships of all shapes and sizes moved through Earth's orbit. She could hardly believe how much had changed in such a short time. "Admiral," a voice called. Sarah turned to see Dr. Emily Wong approaching, the Vorax child floating beside her. "The delegates are ready for you." Sarah nodded, taking a deep breath. Today was the day they would shape the future of the galaxy. As they entered the Grand Assembly Hall, Sarah was struck by the diversity of the gathered beings. Representatives from Earth sat alongside members of the Coalition of Free Species and even former Council worlds. At the center of it all, a group of Vorax hovered, their bodies glowing softly. Sarah took her place at the podium, facing the assembled delegates. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to her. "Friends, allies, and guests," Sarah began, her voice carrying across the hall. "We stand here today at the dawn of a new era. The fall of the Galactic Council has left a void, one that we must fill not with fear and control, but with cooperation and understanding." She gestured to the Vorax child, who floated forward. "We've learned that the Vorax, far from being the monsters we were told they were, are ancient guardians of life in our galaxy. They'd watched over us all, intervening only when absolutely necessary to prevent catastrophe." The child's eyes swirled with cosmic energy, and suddenly, holographic images filled the air above the delegates. They saw the Vorax guiding the evolution of life on countless worlds, deflecting asteroids from populated planets, and even stabilizing dying stars to save civilizations. As the images faded, Sarah continued, "But the Vorax can't do it alone. They need us, all of us, to work together to protect and nurture life across the stars." She looked out at the sea of faces, seeing a mix of hope and uncertainty. "I propose that we form a new galactic federation, not built on fear and domination like the old council, but on mutual respect, cooperation, and the shared goal of fostering life and knowledge throughout the universe." The hall erupted in discussion, delegates turning to each other to share thoughts and concerns. Sarah waited patiently, knowing that this was a crucial moment. Finally, a tall, willowy being stood up. Sarah recognized her as the representative from Altair, one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. "We have seen the bravery and compassion of humanity," the Altairan said, her voice melodious. "You stood against impossible odds to protect an innocent, and in doing so, you've given hope to us all. Altair supports this federation." One by one, other delegates stood, pledging their support. Even representatives from former council worlds joined in, eager to be part of this new vision for the galaxy. The votes were tallied. Sarah felt a tug on her sleeve. She looked down to see the Vorax child, its eyes shining with joy. "New beginning," it said, its voice filled with hope. "All protect. All grow." Sarah smiled, feeling a wave of emotion wash over her. They had done it. They had changed the course of galactic history. The final vote was announced, and the hall erupted in cheers. The Galactic Federation was born. In the days that followed, work began on dismantling the oppressive systems of the old council and building new frameworks for cooperation. Earth became a hub of galactic diplomacy, with humans working alongside aliens to solve problems and share knowledge. The Vorax, no longer hidden, took on a more active role as advisors and protectors. They worked with scientists from various worlds, sharing their ancient wisdom to advance medicine, technology, and the understanding of the cosmos. As for Sarah, she found herself in a new role, Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Federation. As she prepared for her first diplomatic mission to a distant world, she couldn't help but think back to that fateful day when they found a small, injured alien child on a remote planet. That one act of compassion had set in motion events that reshaped the galaxy. It proved that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons, but their capacity for empathy, their willingness to stand up for what's right, and their ability to bring others together for a common cause. As Sarah's ship lifted off, carrying her towards new adventures, she knew that the future was bright. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as friends, protectors, and builders of a better galaxy for all. The universe, vast and full of wonders, awaited them.